And we're live.
We're preparing.
All right, it looks like we're
I
live.
will give the introduction.
We're live. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rockport Studio Tour Live. We are here. We have our studio artists all in their own individual homes since we're adhering to stay-at-home ordinances. And we are just trying to gather together and explore each other's studios. We wanted to have the Rockport Studio Tour last weekend, April 3rd or 4th and 5th, but it got postponed. So this is our take on bringing art to you. Wherever you are, all across the country, all across the world, we're gonna bring a little bit of Rockport to you each week. And Rockport's all about the art. So we brought our artists together. And this week we are going to highlight Doc Roberts. He's a local glass artist with the Rockport Center for the Arts. And he is on our tour. He makes small animal sculptures. And that's fantastic. But before we get to him, I have a couple things that we need to, some housekeeping, so to say. I'm going to start off with thanking our sponsors. This is brought to you, our studio tour is brought to you by some great companies and great individuals who have all who are supporting our event here in Rockport, and also us continuing during COVID-19. So we want to thank the First Community Bank. They're our presenting sponsor today. And as you can see behind me, I have a little bit of Tito's. And they are a wonderful sponsor and supporter of the arts. They are a sponsor for the Rockport Studio Tour, and we just want to give a little shout out to them. They have converted their distilleries into hand sanitizing companies. And so we are so proud to have that as a Texas company and as a sponsor of the Studio Tour. Now, First Community Bank, let me get to them. Hold on just one moment. How about while I find our sponsor information, Doc, will you please introduce all our artists?
Yes, I sure can. Thanks for joining us. I just want to let you know real quick, Carol, the live YouTube is actually on a different stream. And when you click up on the left-hand top there, if you copy that streaming link, you'll be able to see it went to a different stream on it. Don't know what happened there, but we're live. So
do I need to paste that into Facebook and things?
Yes, so if you on that pull down there, copy this new stream link, and then because there's 46 people waiting when I looked last, they probably need an update to the new stream. I'll type it in real quick. These things happen, so no big deal. But let me go ahead while you're doing that. I'll go ahead and introduce everybody. Let me get this switched over to a new screen here, and I talk with everybody.
Here's the new streaming link now.
Yep. All right, so I'm on this one here now. So what we got a nice little show for everybody. I'm going to do a little studio tour, but we're going to introduce everybody first here. And I want to go right in the list that we have. We have Stan Irvin to my right. How you doing, Stan? And what medium do you have?
I'm a potter.
A potter. All right. And we'll go next to his right is Jeans. How you doing, Jean? What
I'm doing great, thank you. I am on the board of the Rockport Center for the Arts. So great. I'm a big supporter.
Right on. That's what we want to hear. All right, and then on the next row we got Elsa. How are you doing, and what medium do you work in?
I am great. I'm kind of, I am a painter, but I work in watercolor.
And we'll go next to his right is Jean. How you doing, Jean?
I'm doing great, thank you. I am.
Okay, everybody's on YouTube. You got to mute the YouTube if you're on YouTube. Everybody that's in the meeting. So we're hearing all the back feed. Right on. That's what we want to hear. All right, and then on the next row we got Elsa. So the next person we got is,
I am great. I'm kind of, I am a painter, but I work in.
We got Anita Diebel.
We'll go next
to her right.
His right is Jean.
Right. Hello, I'm a
We're having a little technical difficulties. Somebody has got their, there we go. Perfect. Now we can hear Anita. How you doing? What medium do you work in?
Great, this is fun. I am a painter. I work in watercolor, acrylic, collage, and whatever I happen to find. And love
Right on.
part of this studio tour. I was on it last year with my studio and the year before as a guest artist. So this is a great opportunity for us. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being on the show with us. We sure appreciate it. And we got to her right is Debbie. I think that's Debbie Mins. Is that correct?
Debbie Mins, yes.
All right.
Pastel and water media.
Oh, cool deal. And then we're going to move on. We got Barbara next to her. And what medium do you do, Barbara?
Hi, I work in watercolor and also oil and cold wax. And I am a painter, obviously. And I'm looking forward to the studio tour.
Right on, right on. All right, so next row down, we got Michael. And I see a lot of stuff in the background there, Michael. What do you do there?
I guess you might guess it. I'm a woodworker.
A woodworker, right on. Okay, and then next to Michael, we got Sarah. And Sarah, how you doing? And what medium do you work in?
I'm doing great, and I am a supporter of the Art Center, Doc.
Right on. We like that, don't we? All right, cool deal. And then we're going to go to the next person, which is Tanya. And how are you doing? And what medium do you work in?
I'm great. I'm just really excited about this. I wished I would have known we were all going to be live. I would have maybe put some makeup on, but
that's all right.
There's always next time.
I got a paintbrush right here. We can paint you some lips on, all kinds of good stuff. So don't you worry about that.
I'm a silver. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. We sure appreciate it. And then next to Tanya, we got Vivian. Hi, Vivian. How you doing? And what medium do you work in?
I'm a potter.
A potter. Right on. Okay. And then we got next row down, we got Diane Johnson. And how you doing? And what medium do you work in, Diane?
Hi, Doc. I'm doing great, and I am a silversmith.
A silversmith. Well, we saw her working earlier. She's got this big silver bracelet. You want to show that to everybody?
Oh, I've got it on the other side of the studio. I sat down to do it. But hang on, let me get it.
Well, she was hammering on that thing quite a bit. Yeah, we saw her hammering.
It's not in the shape of a bracelet just yet, but it's becoming a bracelet when it grows up.
Good deal. Right on. Yeah, it's very. Does anybody have any questions? If you do have questions, post them in the chat on the YouTube on the right-hand side. So if you have YouTube, go ahead and log in. And on the right-hand side, you'll have a chat. We're going to have somebody monitor that chat. And if you have questions while we're going through the videos, definitely ask your questions and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as possible. There is about a 20-second delay. So give us a few minutes to get to those questions, and then we can answer them. So do we have anything else to add, Carol?
Yeah, thanks, Doc, for doing that. I will be moderating the chat. So if you have questions, just let me know. I see that Sandy Jumper, William Harkey are watching, Caitlin Rignan, my sister in the Woodlands, Christine. Hi, shout out to you. Y'all are on board. So thank you so much for watching. And I do want to give a shout out to First Community Bank. They are a presenting sponsor. And they sent me a nice little message. They have a new banking experience. And the future of banking has arrived in the Coastal Bend with the debut of the new First Community Bank interactive teller machines, ITMs. The ITMs feature upgraded technology and improved functionality over existing ATMs, including a touch screen, two-way video option to speak with in English or in Spanish, an FCB teller during bank hours. So what does that mean? It means that you can go to an ATM and not have to talk to anyone. I mean, not see anyone in person. You don't have to breathe their air or anything. Very COVID friendly. And what do these additional features do? They help you speak with the teller, cash checks, and make deposits, make cash withdrawals up to $2,500, which if you want to donate to the Art Center, we will gladly welcome that as a sponsor for the Rockport Studio Tour. You can also do cash on us checks. So it sounds like they send out a check for you, make loan payments and balance inquiries. So that's super helpful nowadays, especially as we're all trying to avoid other germs. So in the privacy of our own studios, guys, how are you all doing in Rockport? Huh? Are you guys doing well? I hope doing great.
Doing great. How about everybody else doing?
Yeah, we have Adam Miller joining us. So thank you, Adam. So all you guys, Doc, I'm just going to pass it back on to you. Tell us about what you're going to be doing today. Tell us about your studio, and let's get started.
Yeah, right on. So my name is Doc Roberts. I'm a glass blower, flame worker, so I do a little bit of everything. Little bit of glass stuff that we've done here lately. I've posted some stuff online. I'm going to show everybody a little bit. Kind of like if you were going to come out here and walk into my studio, we're going to like take you through the steps of coming in. I teach classes here right at my studio. I'm going to flip this camera around in a minute, and you guys can kind of see all the stuff that I see in here. And we're just going to kind of give you guys a little tour of my little studio here. So I'm going to grab this camera here. We're going to flip the camera around, and going to get a little shaky. Oh, my big face is in there. Let's see here. There we go. And then here's a camera view. And I'm just going to, so you're going to come to my shop. You're going to walk in, and then you're going to hang out. And then, so this is kind of like my whole studio here. And we'll just walk around it. And like, this is the bench to where, you know, I got an intern right now that she is working on stuff. And so she's got some beads sitting over here. Now she ain't here today. She's on the YouTube. And her name's Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin. How you doing? And thanks for joining us. Sure appreciate it. But she's been making these beads and stuff like that. She's got some in the kiln here. We're going to pull one of these out so you guys can see it. I've been teaching her how to do this new technique that I got. And so she's making some of these nice little Pandora beads and stuff like that. So this is a little technique I've helped her do. And so she's working on that right now. I got a little kiln here and a little setup. There's a bunch of little tools in here and stuff like that. So if I have some tools I need, I have plenty for students and everything. So they come out and they make some stuff, and I teach them how to do it. I have 4 torch stations. So each torch station is set up. You can come out and I teach you how to use one of the torches, and you can make some beads, some pendants, all kinds of stuff. So some of the glass I use is Italian glass. It's made in Murano, Italy. And it's considered soft glass. And I do have some glass that's hard glass, like your Pyrex dishes and stuff like that, or borosilicate glass. And that's some of the stuff I make. Not all of it's all put up yet because I just built this building this past year by myself, my bare hands. And so we still in the process of making stuff work out around here. So I got a tile saw so I can saw some glass. Right now I got something cooking in the kiln. We'll just open that up and you guys can actually see what's cooking in there. And he should be done probably later today, in about 2 hours or so. Let me pull him out there and you guys can see it.
Doc, what are you doing in that kiln? Are you annealing the glass?
I am annealing the glass. So you guys can kind of see what I've got there. Got a little crab. He's cooking. And so what the kiln does, it allows me to make the glass on the torch. And then I stick it over here in the kiln so it can actually anneal. And that makes the glass a little harder. So basically think of it like all these molecules are all jumping around. And then those molecules slow down a little bit at a slower pace. They make the glass nice little marriage, and they make the glass a lot stronger. So that kind of gives you an idea. So
what temperature is that?
Right now, I do need a new Century Express because the temperature is a 995 right now, but I do have it set at a temperature of 1050. That's the annealing temperature of glass for hard glass. I can do some striking and stuff. Yeah.
We have a question from Elena Rodriguez, our curator. She's asking, what is the difference between hard and soft glass, and what dictates which glass type to use?
All right, so yeah, there is a little bit of difference. Basically, it's the COE, the coefficient of expansion. So what that is like the soft glass is coefficient of expansion is 104. So that means that the thermal shock rate of it is the expansion rate. So it cools down faster or slower than boro does. So like my tubes here, they're made of borosilicate glass. So they have a coefficient of 33. They don't meet together. They don't marry together very well. And if you do put them together, they will fracture whatever piece you use. So you do have to dictate what you want to make in either section. So, and I'm going to kind of show you what types of things you can make with soft glass, what kind of things you make in hard glass. And we'll get to that when I get over to the case there. But that kind of gives you an idea of what you can use with the glass. Like the little crab I just made, he's about 8 inches in width, but I made him in hard glass. And the reason why is because to keep soft glass its shape and conformity to it, you can't stop. So you have to work from beginning to end all in one session. With hard glass or boro or Pyrex or whatever you want to call it, you can actually heat it up, set it down on the table, go have your dinner, come back, pick it back up and put it in the torch, and you're going to be okay. And you can actually make it work. Whereas soft glass, you have to go from start to finish all in one session. You can't take any breaks. You can't slow down. It's very, it's kind of like playing with solder or water. It's very hard to mold and it's very hard to get the shape and stuff. So it's a little bit harder to work with. And that's kind of the short side of it. I can get into all the technical stuff, but we're going to move along and we'll just kind of go over some of the other stuff I got here, and we'll get a little bit more into some of the stuff that I've made in soft glass and hard glass.
Just to let everyone know, all of our artists on here, I did mute you all just because things were flipping back and forth. But so if you have a question, please just actively unmute yourself. All right.
Yeah.
Back to you, Doc.
Sounds good. All right, cool deal. So here's my case, and it's not very full right now because usually the time of year that I'm the busiest is between about the middle of September till about late January, middle of February is my busiest season. After that, kind of slow down, and that's when I start building back up for the next season. So you can kind of see some of the stuff I've made. I'll kind of give you guys a little preview of it. So I got a little tree frog there, the little heron I just made this past week. And so we got all kinds of stuff in there. I do have glass ink pens and stuff like that I make. There's penguins and just all kinds of stuff that you guys can make in here. So I have some of the other items like rings. Now, some of these rings have real opals in them, so you can actually make them sparkle really nice in the sun. And then we got some bullet cups. And then here's one of the other favorite items everybody likes is turtles and stuff like that. I make a lot of marbles with dichroic in them. There's a little special process that these little marbles and trinkets have right there. Those are memorial marbles and pendants. So what those are pet ashes. They're my pet. They're not for sale, but you can actually see what I can do with them. I'm not going to sell my pet ashes. I don't think I want to do that. So if you have pet ashes or something, you want them rolled up and you can wear them as a pendant, I can make those too. And then here's some new style earrings I've been making. And then this other case, I haven't quite filled it up with anything yet. It's got some marbles in it and stuff, but I got some stuff in there that I'm working on. And
can you go back to the jewelry for a sec?
Sure. Well, which part, the earrings, or which part do you want to look at?
Yeah, I wanted you to just pause at those chili peppers.
Oh, the chili peppers.
Cool.
Yeah. If you're hot like chili peppers, I got some earrings for you. Right. So yeah, they got quite a few. This is the older style I did. It was more of a little drop. And then this year I decided to go ahead and make them a little flat and different design. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now let me tell you a little difference about the soft glass and hard glass. All right, so I have some spiders and stuff like that, and a wasp that's made in soft glass. I have the penguins and the elephants that are made in soft glass. That's very intricate detail that you can do with soft glass because you don't need as much heat, but it's also a lot harder to work with because it's more unstable and it moves a lot faster than the rest of the glass. The ink pens are actually also made in soft glass. The outcome is still pretty much the same. It's still hard like glass, but it's more fragile. I can take one of these pendants here and I can chuck it down the road and it'll chip, but it's like a marble. It won't break. On very rare occasions do they ever snap in half. But with soft glass, yeah.
We have a question from Adam Miller. Could you mix silver and glass like a vase?
Yes, you can. And that's what I was actually going to get into next was if you look right to the right here, this little marble actually has a blue tinge to it. That's actually real silver on the inside. And so you can mix gold and silver. Let me tell you what you can accomplish with gold and silver. So you can actually fume inside the glass or onto the glass and encase it. So if you fume with silver, you're going to get hues of greens and blues and kind of purplish colors. And then with gold, you're going to get your reds and pinks and oranges. So you can get a whole rainbow of colors just with those two items, mixing them in with the glass. So that kind of gives you guys an idea. And that's pretty much my whole studio. I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but let me know in the chat and we can answer them. All right, so let me go get set back up over here.
Yeah, we have another question, and I answered it, but I just want to verify. Julia Castillo-Niles asked, can we order online? She's interested in those opal earrings.
Yes, you can order online. I have a website. If you'll you can go to my Facebook page and message me and tell me what you want. We can do it that way, or you can go to my website, and it's www.theflameworker.com. And you can go to my website, type me a message there if you want to order something, or if you see something that I post on Facebook, you can message me there. Right now, I mean, I don't allow very many people in the shop. I mean, we are under some orders and stuff like that at this time, so it's not kind of hard to visit with people. I do keep the shop open because I do attend to veterans that have PTSD, so they come out and they'll use a torch and stuff like that. I do ask that they don't, be sick or anything like that, but I haven't had anybody come out, so it's been pretty quiet around here, to say the least. But that kind of gives everybody an idea. You can go to my website or Facebook. Any other questions anybody has?
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget.
How long have you been working in glass?
Well, it's been about almost 12 years, or right about 12 years. So it's been a little while. I've learned from, I started out in my garage. That's a unique little story. I'll tell this little story. When I was back in 2008, my wife came to me and she goes, hey, I want one of these Pandora beads for Christmas. And I said, well, all right, well, I'll go get you one of those. And I went down Pandora and I said, hey, I want that bead right there. And that lady goes, that'll be $180, sir. And I said, what? And I didn't know the process of what it took to make a bead. And I was like, that's glass. And I didn't value as much as what other people valued it at that time. But now that I work in it, I know how hard it is to make something, because it took me 3 months to make a bead, to learn how to do it. And I started out in September, and I got in my garage and I was like, man, I'm gonna make that bead. And so I just started playing around. There was, back then, YouTube was very, it was just coming up. And so there wasn't very many people out there, showing off what they could do or teaching classes. And there wasn't any classes that I could find anywhere in Texas at the time. And so I'm just in my shop, hammering away at stuff and everything. I couldn't figure out how they got it round. I mean, I messed up some glass, let me tell you. And
hey, Doc,
sure.
I have a couple questions of building up. So we have a couple, I can just say them pretty quickly. We have questions like, what kinds of things can you make if you take a class, and what is your price range? And then the third question is your most ambitious project you have ever taken on.
Okay, that's a few questions. All right, let's go to the first one. I'll probably forget the other two by the time I get there. So the first one was what was it again? It was to, yeah, I already forgot. Got me all frazzled there.
What's price
range?
The
price range. Okay, let's talk about price range. We'll do one at a time. Price range, if it's for the items that I have for sale, like the glass items, I have stuff from like $10, $15 all the way up to like the crab I just made. I just sold him today for, and he went for 300 bucks. I've done a dragon. That's probably my most ambitious piece. That took me about 3 weeks to get it all together and done. And yeah, that was probably my most ambitious piece that I've done. And then if you want to take a class ranges, most of them start at about 80 bucks and they go up from there. So I have little short 3-hour courses. You come out and we'll teach you how to make beads. You want to make a pendant. You want to make heart shapes. There's a lot of stuff that you can learn to do. Just depends on what you want. Some of the stuff is a little bit more advanced. So those classes last a little bit longer. But they all start at 3 to 4 hours. I have some classes like 6 hours. I have some classes that are all the way up to 2 days long. And then I do have one class that once a year I'll teach. It's about 5 or 6 days long. So it just kind of depends what range you want to be at and how fast you want to get up to speed and making big items. It's totally up to you how fast you want to go. It's all the want to. If you want to, you can do it.
What is your most ambitious project?
This week was that crab. It took me a day to make all the legs. Took me a day to go ahead and put all the components together to make it. And then the third day, which was yesterday, I actually put it together, and then today it's in the kiln. So that takes about 4 days. It's a long project to be on. Part of that crab has a unique feature to it. The eyeballs on it, I actually give a shout out to a friend of mine. He actually makes these eyeballs and sells them, but he sells them for charity. And so I bought them from him to help the charity out, and that was for it was a hunger fund is what it is, and it's good to go to help feed hungry children in the United States. And I thought it was a good cause, so I bought those eyeballs, and I actually put those eyeballs in that crab that's in the kiln right now. So that's kind of unique little story. But the most ambitious piece I ever done was probably that dragon. It took me a long time. There are some pieces that that take a little while to do all the components. So yeah, it can get, you can really dive into it. There are some techniques out there, and I'm going to show you one right now. This is an eyeball. I don't know if everybody can see that. It's a piece of glass. It's a rod of glass. So the rod of glass is about, I like them about this long, about 3 inches. And so you can take that rod of glass. That takes about 8 hours to make an eyeball. Okay. And then you make an eyeball. And then when you make 2 eyeballs, and then you make a nose, and then you make some lips. And then like the girl that was on earlier that said she didn't have any makeup on, I told you I can paint you one. And so that right there is a little Marini chip. And what that is a bunch of components all pulled down into a glass rod. And then I slice it, and then I put these little pieces on little lollipop people is what we call them, or what I've called them. And so you can make that into a face, and then you can make little characters of what you want. Now, that was my very first one, but you can tell that, I messed up pretty bad, but that was the very first one I ever made. I always keep the first pieces I make. But you can make these little component pieces, and then you pull them down, you attach them, you paint glass back onto it, you pull it back out again, you make a nose, and you put all these components together. And that's what kind of gives you this face piece. And then that face piece, a slice of this, I sell for $850 to other glass blowers. But the gentleman I learned from, his name's Lauren Stump. He's probably the most renowned person in the world that can do it. He has one of a slice of the Madonna and baby that goes for, I think it was 50,000 at one point in time. And so he does very well at it. He's probably the best artist out there that does that kind of stuff. It is very difficult to do. Like I said, each eye took about 8 hours. The nose took about 6. The lips took about 6. And then you got to put it all together. I got eyebrows in there. So you can get pretty detailed. He actually can do face characters of people, like, live people in the world. I mean, he's done some shadings of people with color and everything. So, I mean, he's really good at it. And I thought that would be the best person to learn from too, as well. So I went and took a few of his classes, and they wasn't cheap, by the way. So I got a lot of stuff, a lot of techniques I've learned over the years. A lot of techniques I learned from people from Italy, like Vittorio Costini. I took one of his classes on how to make those spiders and wasps and stuff like that, all the little tiny pieces. And they do that in soft glass. And it's very impressive that when people can do it in soft glass, because it's very hard to work.
Hey, Mike.
So, yeah.
Can you start showing us some glass? Let's see some flames.
Yeah. You guys want to see some flames? All right. Get a little drink there, and we're going to light this torch up. I'm going to change the camera view. And so we're going to switch it over there like that. Now, when I light this torch,
how you make a round ball.
Yeah.
With glass.
All right. So here's a torch. You guys are going to see this right now. And I'm going to show you what I see with glasses on. So I have to take my regular glasses on, and I put these kind of glasses on, and they're called diadium glasses. So diadium glasses allows you to see through the flame. So what they're for is to protect your eyes, basically. You don't want to have any sodium flare, and that's what, when you put the glass into the flame, you get what's called sodium flare. And you don't want that. It's bad for your eyes. And when you work boro, you have to wear a shade 3 glass. So I wear those with some lookers on them so I can see with the boro, because it gets super bright. But for the demo, you guys will see the little difference. I'm going to put a little rod in the glass, and then you guys can see the difference when I show you what it looks like with the rose diadium glasses on. So right now, you see how bright that is? So that's super bright. But now I'm going to switch this camera view, and I got a camera up here that has a lens on it like this. And then you guys can see the magic like what I see. So we'll switch that over real quick. And this one here. All right, so you guys can see the flame now. It's a little bit of zoomed up there, but now watch what happens when I stick the glass into the flame. It's not as bright. And now you guys can get to see what I see inside the flame. And so we're going to leave it on that view right there. And what I'm going to do is I'll ball up a little bit of glass so we can have a little fun
Hey,
with
Mike,
it.
what kind of torch is that?
That's a good question. This right here is a GTT torch. I got a question for everybody in the chat room. Do you know how hot this torch gets? So we get some guesses in there. You're getting close. That's about half.
Oh, really?
Yep. So right now I'm working soft glass. So I'm getting a nice little ball of glass going, and you guys can see that. And then you guys can see it up there. It's a little closer. So it gets pretty bright. And it's a little bit more soupier than boro glass. So as I'm working it, I'm building a gather up is what they call this. And the torch, I don't know if anybody's posted yet in the comments, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there. This torch gets up to about 5,000. I can actually crank it all the way up. This is a 2-stage torch, so I can get a little bit more fire to it if I want. And so when I go ahead and make some big pieces, this is the flame I will use for it. And it'll melt this soft glass super fast. As a matter of fact, it'll melt just about anything. I can melt stainless steel with it even. All right, so we'll go back to this little tiny flame. And then I'm just building up a gather of glass. So they make all different types of torches, since we're talking about torches. Some of the torches I have on the table are small torches, and they're like this flame right here for beginners. You can't start out with this huge flame. You'll just melt things completely because you won't know how the glass moves. So I always tell everybody start out with a torch, and this minor burner is what they're called on these little torches. And it's kind of like the Volkswagen of the industry. They're good little torches. They last a long time, and they hold their value pretty good. But then when you want to move up and you want to get, a V8 or something like that, this is what you get. You get something with a little bit more power. That kind of gives you guys an idea. And so I'm building a gather up right now, and I'm going to turn this into a piece. We're going to make a little sculpture right here live. For everybody in the chat, go ahead and guess what I'm trying to make, and then we'll see if anybody's right. So we'll kind of get an idea of what I'm going to make. So if there's any other questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. This is a good time while I'm trying to focus. I get something to talk about. All right, so I'm going to build a ball of glass up, a gather. And so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I want it to be about nickel to quarter size. And so I'm just building up nice and slow. I'm trying to make sure I stay on center with it. And then what I want to do is kind of make this into a Q-tip shape. So I'm going to get a little bit more gather onto it. So I'm going to heat it up quite a bit more. So I get about a little less than quarter, but not quite as small as a nickel. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to let it hang down a little bit, keep it on center, and try to keep it from falling. And sometimes you got to get a little less heat into it so you can actually maneuver it. If you get too much heat into it, it's just going to fall down on the floor. But that's pretty good right there. And so now I'll kind of let it droop a little bit, and I want to hang it down, give a little blow on it, and it'll start to harden up. And now I got a little, yeah.
Why are you wearing gloves? Aren't your hands hot?
No, that's another good question. So glass is not a good conductor of heat, so it doesn't come down. I can get pretty close to about right there.
So some of the guesses we have is a marble, a seahorse, an Easter bunny, a bird.
Oh, a bird. A bird would take out of this shape. I could do a bird out of that shape. They're getting close. And it is a type of bird. I'll tell you the truth, it is. But more specific, what kind of bird? So everybody's got to kind of decide what kind of bird this might end up being. So I got a nice little shape there. It's kind of like a Q-tip. And so now I got to think about what this bird's body is going to look like or what colors it has. So I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I'm going to paint a little bit of white onto this little ball of glass I got. And so I'm going to face it towards me, and then I'm going to put it in the flame, heat it up. I got to heat the white up too. With Boro, you don't have to poke at the flame like this to temporarily heat it up. But with soft glass, if you don't poke at it, it fractures really easy in the glass. Boro doesn't do that.
Carol, I'm going to guess it's a penguin.
Well, you are absolutely correct.
It's a penguin.
So we're going to make a little penguin.
Yay.
So I got to paint his little body on.
All right.
So I got to heat up the section where I want to put the glass at and attach it to. And I'm just going to go give it a little swipe. So I'm going to go right there, and I'm going to go whoop, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to lift up and flame cut it off. And now I got a little bit of white on there. You can see that little white. And then there we go. Now I got to melt that in, but I also got to shape it. I want that shape to be round at the bottom. So I'm going to pull the glass to the bottom. Wherever I heat the glass, that's where the glass wants to move to. So I'm going to heat it up, and I'm going to put a little shape into it. And we're just moving that glass around where I want it at. I would like to be able to have a tool that I can reach in there and touch it with my fingers so I can move it, but you can't. So you got to let gravity, or I let gravity do the work for me. So we all know that gravity falls to the ground. And so that's what I'm actually doing, is letting it fall to the ground. Now you guys can kind of see that as it whitens up there. Now I got a little body going. Now that's a little color to it. And now every penguin gets a little, they got to have some wings. So you got to add some wings. Now with this being soft glass, I'm actually having to work it all at the same time. So I got to keep this heated at the same time. So I have to give it a little flash of heat every once in a while. So now I got to heat up this other glass so I can paint its wings on. And we're just going to get a little ball of glass. Doesn't take much, very little. And then what we do is we attach a penguin wing on one side and then one on the other side. Pretty simple, not too hard. If you know what a penguin looks like, you kind of just imagine where the wing would go, and you just lay it down and attach it. So that's what I'm going to do right here. Heat it up, give it a little touch down, and then lift up. I want him to have a little flare. He's a little penguin that's got some attitude. He's got a little wing that says, "Hey, look at me, I'm a penguin." All right, so I'll do one. When I did the one side, I have to do the other side. And I'll kind of keep that whole body warm as I'm doing this. If I don't, it'll fracture right here in front of me. So you got to kind of keep an eye on it. With Boro, you don't have to do that. You can just leave it in the heat, take it out for a little bit. You do have to keep it warm, but not as, it's a little bit more forgiving. So I'll kind of eyeball it a little bit where I want to put that next wing at, and then I'll just lay it down and go, whoop, and then lift up, and then I got another little wing there. And then I'll make it nice, shapely. And then now you guys can see the little penguin. He's got little wings now. All right, now at this point, you have to decide what color of feet he needs, because now you got to work his feet. And so I got to keep the body warm, and then I got to make some feet. So we're going to give him some orange feet. Penguins like orange feet, keeps their toes warm, I guess. And so we'll add some orange feet. Now, basically everything starts out as a ball, so you have to kind of figure out, you know, where you want to place this at, because you only get one chance. With this orange color, it's a cadmium color. So this cadmium color here, it burns very easily in the flame, so you can't work it way down here. So I have to work it way up here. And so what I'm doing is I'm working it further and further away. And I'm going to go ahead and make a little touch down there. And I get a little bit of ball on there. And I'll do one there, and then I'll do one on the other side. And I'll keep the whole thing warm now while I'm doing this. And I'll touch down the other side right there and give him a little foot. And everybody's going like, well, those are just round balls. How are you going to make a foot out of that? Well, what I do is I go ahead and I'll heat up the ball of glass on the feet. And I have this little thing on the side over here, which is a Marver. And what I'll do is I'll heat up the whole bottom back side of him along with the front side at the same time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little Marver on the side here. I'm just going to touch down and make him straight up. And there we go. Now we got a penguin. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little tool, so I know that he'll stand up properly. And you can separate his feet. Like his feet got a little too close. That's all right. I'll just take this little knife. We'll give him a little separation. Now he's got 2 feet again. And that happens with soft glass, is sometimes it'll actually overkill itself. So I'm going to take a little tool. I'm going to heat up right in the center, and I'm going to poke in a divot, basically, so he stands up straight. So I'll get right there, and I'm going to go beep, push in. And now I know he will stand up straight. I'm going to go ahead and touch down right here just to make sure. And now he'll stand up all on his own. So now I got this one piece that's nice and warm. Now I have to be able to work his neck and his head. And so what I'm going to do is I have to make an attachment that I can take off later. And so what I'm going to do, sure, go ahead.
Are you saying that he's headless right now?
He is headless right now. He's a headless penguin.
Oh, man.
All right, so it looks like I'm going to have to get a little bit more speed in my talk, because it looks like I'm running out of fuel. So what we'll do is we're going to touch down right there, give him a little whoop on his tail. I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to come around to the backside. I'm going to make sure it stays nice and even. Blow on it a little bit. I got a nice little attachment I can come back to later. And now I have to work his head very fast. I didn't check the gas earlier. Guess I should have done that. So now I'm working his head really fast here. I'm going to build up a gather. I may not make it. Looks like I'm running out of fuel. All right, come on, penguin. Always fun. So now I'm working his little head, and I'm going to put on his nose with some yellow. I'm going to heat up the yellow real quick. I'm going to let his head fall down shapely just a little bit. Heat up the yellow glass. And then I'm going to make sure his head's not lopsided. Come over this way, look at him face on, and I'm going to give him a little nose right in the center. And I'll pull it out and burn it off. Make his nose nice and pointy. Come back, I'm going to take a stringer of white. I'm going to give him a little eyeball over here. And touch down right there, little eyeball. And then another eyeball over here. And then we're going to take a little bit of black and I'll make some pupils for him real quick, and then he'll actually survive maybe. Now I can't go back to the body, so I'm just working the head part. And so I'm going to give him just a little tad bit on the eyeball. Comes out. I melt it in, and the same for the other side. And so a little touch down, I go beep right there, burn off his little eyeball, and ta-da, he's got eyeballs now. Now you can make them googly-eyed, all kinds of stuff. I can paint hats on him. I got Santa hats and stuff like that. I can put a cowboy hat on him and everything. But he's pretty much done now. And so everybody can see. There's a little penguin. We're going to switch to camera view, and then you guys can see it with that, without that hazy view. Transition there. And then I can actually zoom up on it a little bit. There's a little penguin. So then we go ahead and I turn off the torch, and now we let the penguin little rest. Now, what I normally do is go put ahead and stick him in the kiln, but I got a little fiber blanket here. We're going to let him take a little nap. So I'll kind of pan over what that fiber blanket is. So basically this will kind of cool him down slowly, and he'll survive, and then I'll stick him into the kiln later, and then he'll be annealed. So he takes a little nap for about 20 minutes, and then I can stick him in the kiln and do a batch anneal, and then he'll come up to speed and he'll be a nice little penguin. So does anybody have any questions?
Wow, that was really cool. Thank you, Doc.
Oh yeah, you guys are welcome. So what I wanted like to do is go ahead and do like a random number generator, and we'll give away that penguin to someone lucky in our chat. So if you're in the chat, go ahead and, how many people we got in that chat? Do you have an idea, Carol?
I don't know about number of people in the chat, but we do have 52 people watching right now.
Okay.
So they all have access to the chat.
They all have access to the chat. So let's do since we got about 50 people, let's do a random number between 1 and 60. Let me pull one up on the internet, and we'll just do it live. I'll share my screen and everybody can watch it, and whoever comes close to that number can they'll get a penguin from me. They'll just have to send their information to me.
How do they pick a number?
I'm going to go ahead and let them pick a number in the chat room. So whoever is in the chat room has an opportunity to win that penguin. So if you're in the chat room, you're going to pick a number between 1 and 60. Let me pull up a little random number generator on the internet. All right. Random number generator. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. So we want a minimum of 60, or a minimum of 1, and then a max of 60.
Okay.
There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share my desktop, and what we'll do is let everybody pick some numbers. We'll give them a few minutes to pick some numbers. So pick a number between 1 and 60.
Yep. All right. We have a few numbers coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if you're on YouTube and you want to win this item, just log on real quick and type in the chat a number and between 1 and 60, and you guys will get that penguin. And how you're going to get it is you're going to message me your address, and I'll ship it to you free of charge. No worries.
All right, we're ready. We have some numbers.
We have some numbers. All right. So everybody's already got numbers together. Good deal. You want to give them a few more minutes, or you want to just go ahead and do it? We got a lot of numbers in there already.
I know.
Ooh, yeah, everybody's playing along. That's a good deal. I like that.
We have a couple of people repeating their numbers.
Yeah. Anybody that repeats a number, make sure you're looking. You don't want to repeat somebody else's number, because we'll take the first one that's in the list is what we'll do. So let me screen share, and then we'll do a random number really quick here. Let me go to the Zoom, and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go right to my desktop right there. And I'm going to say share, and then we're going to go to the random number picker right there. All right. So here it is. Right now it's 21, but I'm going to hit the generate button because that was from last week. That's not the number. I have to hit the generate number. All right. So is everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. And the lucky number is 53. Who's closest to 53, or who actually chose 53?
Oh, that's one of our artists. You pick again.
Oh, no. I wasn't supposed to pick.
Come on. Oh, artist.
It's up to him.
I have never won anything before.
Well, you did, huh?
Well, you got the number. All right, let's try one more time.
One more time? All right, here we go. Number 9. Who chose number 9?
All right, let's see. We have a 7.
Well, that's pretty close.
Oh, that's Tina. No, come on, artists.
So somebody else chose a number?
Time, Mike.
One more time? All right, we'll do one more time. All right, generate. There we go. Number 3. Who's number 3?
All right, let's see. You see a 3? I see a 2, which is Robin Hazard.
Third. So we want to do it again?
And it's not going to be the artist.
Okay, yeah, we want to not do that. Here we go. Number 57, how's that?
All right, now we're talking. We have a 52 of Jennifer Garcia, 59, Cisco Willison. I think
so that's close.
We have a 59.
59 is pretty close. That's 2 away. And the other one was
52.
52. All right, so it's 59. Let's see. Who was number 59 again?
That would be Cisco Willison.
Cisco Willison. All right. Well, Cisco Willison, thanks for playing along. And if you'll message me on Facebook, just send me your address on Facebook. Don't post it here. Go ahead and message me on Facebook, your address, and I'll ship that free to you. It'll probably go out sometime tomorrow or the next day after it anneals.
Will you give up your screen share for a moment, please?
Oh, yeah. Definitely need to do that, don't we? Stop share. There we go.
Great. Thank you.
Right on.
So I just want to thank everyone for joining us again today. Next week is going to be Diane Johnson. Diane, can you wave? Diane is not paying attention at the moment.
She's muted.
She is, but she's down at the center. There she is. All right. Diane Johnson in her silver silo. She'll be showing us her shop, including her leather working section, her fabric working section, and her silversmithing section. So thank you so much, everyone. As you see, this is our cast of the Rockport Studio Tour, and we will be joining you every week. And hopefully each time we'll be getting better and better at this, and we'll be having more fun. Anyone want to say anything on our way out?
I'm good here. I sure appreciate everybody joining and watching. So thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much.
It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, so live
So
from
great.
Rockport.
Standing ovation here.
Woohoo!
All right.
Live from
Right on.
Rockport. This is the Rockport Studio Tour. Thanks for joining us. We have been presented by First Community Bank, Tito's, as well as many other lovely sponsors. We'll see you next week at Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. From here in Rockport, I'm Carol Stewart, and these are the Rockport Studio Artists. See you next
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.